All right, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the exact process we use to build $1 million offers, right? The same process we use to build our own offer and scale it to 7 figures in roughly 90 days. The same process we've used to scale 3 recent clients' offers to 7 figures within 90 days. And the reason I'm making this video is because I did a mastermind yesterday. I posted a couple of stories afterwards, and all of the questions I was getting in regards to the mastermind was, how did you build these offers, right? We were going through the process of scaling these offers to 85K plus per month within 3 months. And I wanted to make a video basically breaking down the 3 things that need to be included in your offers in order for it to be scalable, right? In order for it to be A, easy to sell, but B, easy to scale. And those are 2 very different things, right? And so the 3 things that you need to do essentially to have a 7-figure offer is A, you need to decommoditize the offer, right? And B, you need to leverage the offer. And C, you need to bridge the gap with your offer that your market is experiencing. And we're going to go into each of these 3 things in detail right now. So starting with decommoditization, well, what is a commodity? What does that mean, right? Well, a product is a commodity when all units of production are identical, regardless of who produces them, right? However, to be a differentiated product, a company's product is different than its competitor. So a product that's a commodity is something where it's identical to everything else in the market and you can find it anywhere, right? These are all examples of commodities. Toilet paper, apples, cigarettes, right? And unfortunately, most people's products are exactly that. They're commodities. And commodities, the problem with them is they're always subject to downwards pricing pressure because they're so easy to make and even easier to find, right? And so when you sell a commodity, you can't sell high ticket, right? You can't sell a product or service high ticket if it's a commodity. It's the same as everything else in the market. And especially for online service providers, right? Coaches, consultants, agency owners, or anyone who sells a service online, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a real estate agent, if you use your face online to sell, if you're selling the same thing as everyone else, you actually will really struggle to sell anything, right? And the reason why is, let's illustrate it with this example here, okay? I want you to imagine you have 3 doors in front of you, and someone tells you $1 million is behind one of these 3 doors. And you can go through 2 of them. And let's say you go through the blue door and there's nothing there. Are you going to go through the blue door again with your second chance? If you already know the path to $1 million is not behind that door, are you going to go there again? Of course not, right? And this is how most coaches, consultants, and agency owners and online service providers try to sell their product or service. Even though the market has already failed with what they're selling, they think if they can just frame it as a better version of that thing, people will suddenly want to buy it. But the thing is, people don't want a better version of something. They want something new, right? New is always better than better because better is just reminding people of the pain and failure they've already experienced with the opportunity you're offering them, right? If you're offering someone Facebook ads and they've already failed with Facebook, do you think they're going to want to pay you for Facebook ads? If someone's already tried with cold outreach and they failed with cold outreach, do you think they're going to want to pay you for cold outreach? So if we look at these 3 doors as blue being Facebook ads, red being organic content, and yellow being cold outreach, and someone's already walked through door yellow, you think they're going to walk through that door again because you're offering them a nicer door, a bigger room inside that door, right? And so the thing that people have to understand is, if you're trying to approach someone who has, for example, failed with these things, they have failed with FB lead ads, cold calling, IGDM ads, cold email, content, cold DMs, and IGDM ads, which we've mentioned twice. What do you think they're going to buy from here? Are they going to buy your Facebook ad agency services? Probably not, because it's just going to make them think of the failure they've already had with Facebook ads, right? Are they going to buy your content agency services if they've already failed with organic content? Probably not, because again, they've already failed with organic content. And so you are just reminding them of their past failures and their past pain and the money and time they've invested into that. Now, if you offer someone TikTok ads, they failed with Facebook ads, they've failed with organic content, they failed with cold calling, they failed with cold email, and they need something to solve their problem. They need to find a new way to get leads. And TikTok ads comes up as an opportunity that they haven't tried. It's something new. It's a new promise that doesn't remind them of all their past failures. This is something that they haven't failed with yet, right? And this is why new is always better than better. And so a big part of the decommoditization process, how can you make your product seem different from everything else in the market? How can you make it the new thing, which doesn't remind people of what they've already failed with, right? If someone's been failing to lose fat with cardio, if they've tried jogging, they've tried Peloton, you're not going to sell them on a 6-minute home workout. Maybe you can sell them on a keto plan because it's something completely different. It doesn't remind them of that old pain, right? It has a new mechanism that's promising to solve all the problems that old thing caused. So this is essentially how we decommoditize offers to make them very easy to sell in the market without actually having to do much work to change the offer at all. Let's say you are a content agency. The first thing we want to do is we want to analyze the pain that the market is experiencing with content, right? Well, people have been trying to work with content agencies, and you guys have to keep in mind, whatever you're in, whether you're running a content agency, an ad agency, a web design agency, an SEO agency, every single market is so saturated right now that you're not going to be the first person that have tried to help the person you're reaching out to. It's very unlikely, right? They've already failed with another content agency. So what problems did they probably have trying to make content in the past or working with a content agency? They were making a random trending viral content that feels inauthentic just based on what seems to be working best with the algorithm. Maybe they were getting a ton of views even, but no followers or sales from those views. And maybe the few clients that they did manage to get converted at such a low amount because they were low quality and they were broke, right? They were only able to charge those people, $2K, $1K, $500. So how can we now make your content agency, how can we make this offer seem completely different? How can we make it the new thing instead of the better thing? We don't want to call it a better content agency. We're going to call it something else. We're going to make a small tweak that solves these problems, right? So if someone is tired of making random trending viral content, getting tons of views with a huge audience that doesn't actually want to buy their stuff because it's just built up of low quality leads that are just into that kind of viral content, let's frame the solution as we're going to focus on understanding your ideal customer profile before we make any of your content. And we're going to focus on making very niche specific content, which is going to frame you as the authority for the specific financial segment you want to target. So you're going to target a smaller audience. We're not going to get you 1 million views, but what we are going to get you is a small audience of people who actually need, want, and can afford your product or service specifically, right? And as a result, you're going to have people coming in, not watching this random viral content you're making like everyone else, watching your insights on what you do best, being educated, being pre-sold, and coming to you as your ideal customer profile ready to buy. So all you're doing is you're making a small tweak. You're just changing the kind of strategy you use for the content. But now because you're focusing on the personal brand and its ideal customer profile instead of viral trends, now you just change the messaging a little bit too. And you call this a personal brand agency instead of a content agency. And now you can explain that the reason they failed with content agencies is because content agencies focus on X, which results in Y and gives them Z. Focuses on making random viral content, which gets them a lot of views and little sales with people who are broke and can't really convert, right? And instead, what a personal brand agency does, you explain, is it focuses on understanding the ideal customer profile, making very targeted content, which will get that specific niche to come in at smaller volumes, already qualified, and build authority and education with them to get them to come onto the call pre-sold, pre-educated, and ready to buy, right? What's another example of this? Let's decommoditize IG ads, right? People have been trying to run meta ads, have been trying to run IG ads, and the problems they're having in the market is expensive to get a sale, right? Expensive to get someone to actually fill out a lead form, send a DM, end up on a sales call and buy. 99% of people who see the ad don't even click, so you just have this huge sunk cost because it's such a big ask, a big investment to get someone to buy something when they don't know you off an IG ad. And as a result, there's low trust. They don't know who you are, right? That's what makes it so difficult to sell. What if instead you sold follower magnets, right? This is actually something that we did. The personal branding angle I just showed you is something we did. When I ran a content agency and we scaled that content agency to nearly 50K in a few months, it's because we positioned ourselves as a personal brand agency and we made ourselves seem different than all the other content agencies. This is another thing we did. Instead of selling IG ads when we wanted to add paid as a service offering, we sold follower magnets. These were IG ads, which were focused on driving profile views instead, which was a much smaller investment ask of someone. Just to follow you instead of buying something. So you get low cost conversions, a lot of followers, not just sales. You also get people following you even if they don't buy yet. So you don't have that sunk cost of you just have 99% of people seeing your ad and not doing anything. And then you're also building authority and nurturing them once they become a follower with your organic content, so that when you do want to sell to them, they're already pre-sold, pre-educated, and ready to buy. And then we just put a setter in the person's business to reach out to all the new followers as soon as they became followers, right? So very small difference. We just literally changed, instead of lead ads, the profile visit ads, and we were able to frame it as something completely different, as a follower magnet instead of as an IG ad, right? Now, a final example here. We decommoditized the website, or rather Russell Brunson was the first person to do this, right? He basically convinced people, listen, websites are causing all of your pain because the customer doesn't know where to look. They're looking all over the place, they can't find the call to action, and so there's low conversion. With a funnel, which only has one page, you force the customer down a specific journey, you keep repeating the call to action every few seconds, and you end up with a really high conversion, right? So they managed to, this is how you would decommoditize a website, right? You would sell a funnel. A funnel is a website with one page, is really what it is if we simplify it, right? And so by doing this, you're able to get away from the quickest path to being broke, which is selling commodities. Sell commodities, end up in a red ocean of competition, sell low volume, low ticket, end up with less money to reinvest into your business, negative flywheel of a shrinking business. Instead, sell new opportunity switches. This is the quickest path to 7 figures. Sell a new opportunity. You have no competition because nobody else is selling your unique mechanism. You can now charge a higher price for it because there's no comparable, and you get higher volume because there's more trust and less doubt based on people's past failures. They're not clumping you into those past failures, and now you get more money to reinvest in acquisition, and it's a positive flywheel. This is what separates 5 and 6 figure agency owners who are stuck in this flywheel of despair on the left from the 7 and 8 figure agency owners on the right. Now, after we have decommoditized the offer, right? Once you found a way to do this, a unique angle to do this for yourself, the next thing that you need is leverage, right? Now, what is leverage? Most of you probably know. If you don't, let's look at what a lever is. A lever is a device which allows you to create greater output with the same amount of input. This gives you a mechanical advantage that we call leverage, right? Leverage is being able to create more output, get more results with the same amount of input, right? Easy way to look at this is this nice little illustration I've drawn here. Someone using a lever in order to lift up a heavy rock, right? And so we have to understand that it is physically impossible to scale limitlessly when you're trading your limited time for money, right? If you have, for example, 40 hours in a week, and you provide a service like running ads for clients, and that requires 5 hours per week per client, you're going to cap out at 40 hours per week divided by 5 hours per client equals 8 clients. Even if you're charging them $3,000 a month, that means you will never make more than $24K per month in your business. You are physically capped at $24K. Now, for some people, this is a good amount of money. And in fact, it is a great amount of money. For the average person, this is a phenomenal amount to make. It's over $250,000 a year. But for those of you who are here to grow a 7-figure per year or per month business, this is going to get you a quarter of the way to 7 figures per year. And so it's just not a feasible model. You have to figure out how to remove yourself from this hamster wheel of trading your time for money, right? And here's how we do this. This is the online service provider's 4 stages of leverage. At the beginning, you have to trade your time for money because you need to be able to provide value through what you do, right? A service. This is the agency model. The problem is most people stay in the agency model forever. And for 90% of people, this isn't the right move, right? Because it's very difficult to achieve higher revenues unless you can have extremely high prices, and you have to be a category king to do that. So for 97% of the market, this is not the kind of model you want to stay in. You want to move towards, as soon as you can, the coaching or consulting model, right? Where instead of trading your time for money by providing a service, where now you have all of these expenses, you have to pay for staff, you have to pay for tech systems, you have to pay for overhead, you have to pay for so many different things to fulfill an agency service. Now you're still trading your time for money, but the positive thing is you're only trading it for your knowledge. So you get to have close to 100%, if not 100% margins, instead of the 20 to 30% you get with an agency model, right? Because now people are speaking or paying you for your expertise instead of for doing the service for them, right? And this also unlocks a ton of time from your calendar, because you might still have to consult with people one-on-one, but you don't have to manage your team anymore, right? Now, once you've been in the consulting and coaching space long enough, the next kind of evolution for you is to move towards a productized service. That is when you take all of the things that you need to fulfill the service. There's three things: insights, knowing what needs to be done; systems, the tools you need to do those things; and talent, the people to do them. For example, if you run a cold DMing or a setting company, the insights would be how to do a first message, how to do the follow-up, how to get someone booked in for a call. The systems would be the tracker for how many people you've reached out to, what stage they are, the script. The talent would be the setter, right? So you actually take every component of the mechanism or service you provided, and you just productize it and sell it to someone, right? You record all of the insights as videos, you package all of the systems as templates, Google Docs, flow charts, Excel trackers, and you create a talent pool. And now you've built something once that you can sell infinite times, right? You've created this productized service you can sell infinite times, and you can charge high ticket for it, because now you're giving someone access to the service forever. And they get to own that revenue that's being created instead of renting it from you, right? Now, the final stage of evolution after a productized service is SaaS, right? Software as a service. Being able to create essentially a software through code and AI which automates the entire service delivery for someone, right? So they can now pay a very low price to have this entire service done for them, right? Some people would argue that info also goes in this category because you can build an info product once. There's no really cost of redistribution or recreation, and you just start printing, selling an info product. I disagree. I believe info products are commodities, right? Because anyone can rip off, recreate, and duplicate an info product, so you're not really adding any incremental value there, and there's no barrier to entry, right? So I left SaaS here. Info, not my favorite thing to do. I include info in productized services as part of your value stack. But wherever you are here, you want to be figuring out what's the fastest path for me to move to the next stage of leverage, right? Now, once you've managed to get to whatever that stage is, if you're an agency model right now and you figured out how to get to coaching and consulting, if you're currently a coach and you figured out how to get to a productized service, the next thing that you want to do, and by the way, moving from an agency model straight to a productized service is a great move as well. You might not actually be the best fit to be a coach or consultant. This might be a better product fit for you. So once you've moved to the final stage of leverage that you're currently capable of doing so, the last thing that you need to do is you need to bridge the gap. What does this mean? If you can bridge every part of the gap between someone's current state and dream state, because people are currently in this state of pain, they want to get to this state of pleasure, of achieving everything that they want to achieve, of not having this pain anymore. If you can bridge every part of that gap between their current state and their dream state, they will pay you whatever you want because you can virtually guarantee them the results, guarantee them success, right? So this is what that looks like for us. When our clients come to us, we have clients come to us all over the board. We have people come to us making nothing, people come to us making 7 figures already. Our average client's making around 10 to 30K per month. They want to get to 100 to 300K per month. How do we close that entire gap for them? We need to fix their offer first, exactly what we're talking about in this video. Then we need to figure out how to drive attention and leads to that offer. And then we actually need to figure out how to convert those attention and leads into consultations and then close them into clients, right? It's not just one thing. If you're just selling ads, for example, you might be able to get someone leads, but what if they can't close those leads? What if they can't convert those leads into sales calls? What if those leads won't show up? There's so many things that could go wrong. And so there's uncertainty in their mind. They have to worry about whether they're competent enough. So your service isn't even reliant on it being a good service. It's also reliant on the person buying being a good customer. And this makes it much harder to sell. So if we can find a way to close this entire gap the way we do in our company, then you can basically make someone feel like there is no chance they will fail. They're more likely to buy, and they'll pay more for this, right? There's 2 ways to do this. You don't have to do all of this at once, right? You can either value stack or value ladder. Value stacking means providing every mechanism that your ICP needs, your ideal customer profile needs, in a single product or service to maximize the upfront cash collection, right? Like, for example, sell mechanism A, B, and C, sell offer, attention and leads, and consults and clients, all for 15K. This might help you make more money on the front end, right? You can charge people more, but less people are going to be able to afford this, first off, or even trusting you before they've experienced part of your transformation or your product or service to pay you this much. So if you have a lot of market authority, if you're someone who's already gotten a track record in the industry, this is a great thing to do. Maximize your upfront lifetime value of your client so that you can now charge 15K for a client that only costs you 3K to invest in, to acquire, and now you have another 12K to put into acquiring more clients, and you can exponentially grow, right? This is how you virally grow a business. But if you don't have that track record yet, or the mechanisms required to do this at scale, what you can do instead is you can value ladder. So value laddering would be selling them on mechanism one first for 6K. That now creates problem two. If you fix someone's offer, now they need a way to drive attention and leads to it. Once you've given them that transformation and they're happy, now you sell them on mechanism two for another 6K, right? You get them the attention and leads. Once you've completed that successfully, that creates the third problem. And now they need help with closing those consults into clients. And now you can sell them on mechanism three for another 6K, right? The nice thing about value laddering is you can get people in the door who can't necessarily afford the service up front right away, the entire thing. And you can earn their trust. And not only that, as you ascend them up the model, because you're collecting a smaller amount incrementally, instead of charging 15K for 3 things, you could charge 6 or 7K for each thing. And now you're making more money over the spread, even if you don't collect it up front. So what strategy you decide to take here really depends on how easily you're selling clients in your market right now. Also, how many kind of stages of experience there are for your client. Because some clients won't be able to afford a 15K package. Maybe you can give them a version of that experience for 5K. There's no reason someone should be getting on a sales call with you and not buying something, right? Which is why value laddering is extremely important. If you have 30% of people getting on sales calls that can afford your high ticket product, you're losing the other 70% when you could just allow them to experience a smaller version of your transformation first. Nobody should be getting on a sales call and not being able to buy something, right? So if you're able to implement this, these 3 things, right? If you can essentially decommoditize your product or service so it seems different from everything else in the market, it seems unique, so that you can charge high ticket for it, so you don't have to worry about pricing, worry about competition, so that you don't have to worry about people thinking about it in the same lens as their past failures. If you can add leverage so that you don't have to worry about capping out on selling this high ticket service, so that you can sell as much of it as you want without capping out in terms of capacity, because you're not trading your time for money. And then you can also bridge the gap to sell people repeatedly, sell them multiple things, or sell them a huge amount of value up front and maximize that lifetime value to reinvest into acquisition for free. This is the fastest path to scaling an offer towards 7 figures and past 7 figures. Again, this is the exact same framework, 3 steps that we used to scale our offer past 7 figures in about 90 days, and that we've done for 3 recent clients to do the same. Now, if you would like to get some more tailored feedback on your current offer, how you can decommoditize it, how you can leverage it, and how you can create a gap bridge, whether it's upfront or in segments, there's a link somewhere in the description of this video that you can reach out, book a call with our team to get a free audit of your current offer, understand what we might be able to do to help, either take that information yourself and implement it, or if you want to speed up the process of scaling towards 7 figures, get us to help you accelerate that process.